Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive, all about Amazon product launches. Whether you're thinking about launching your own product or maybe just curious about how things become bestsellers on Amazon, you've definitely come to the right place. And today, our roadmap is this awesome guide called The Ultimate Guide to Amazon Product Launches.
It's really fascinating stuff. We see new products popping up on Amazon all the time, right? But a lot of people don't realize there's a whole strategy behind the scenes. It's like sellers are playing a game to try and win our attention.
Yeah, for sure. And to really understand this game, let's think about the last time you searched for, well, anything on Amazon. Now, be honest. Did you actually go past that first page of results? Because most people don't.
That's right.
In fact, our guide actually cites a statistic that 81% of shoppers click right there on page one.
Page one is prime real estate in the Amazon world. But that creates a huge challenge for anyone launching a new product. Imagine you've got this amazing new gadget, but it's buried under a mountain of listings. Listings that have tons of reviews and sales history already. It's almost like your product is invisible.
Invisible, yeah. And maybe even doomed. And, the guide calls this the invisibility problem. And it's something every new product faces. But there are ways around this, right? One of the most effective strategies I read about is the, quote, giveaway method.
Yeah, and I think when a lot of people hear giveaway, they automatically think of free stuff, but it's not that simple. What sellers are really doing is offering deep discounts, often through coupons, to try and boost their initial sales. It's not about making a ton of profit right away. It's more about strategically, how do I say this? Working with Amazon's algorithm.
I see. So it's almost like a calculated risk. You're giving up some profit margin up front, but with the hope of gaining greater visibility in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. And the guide goes into detail about why this actually makes sense. See, Amazon's algorithm ranks products based on a few key factors. One of the most important is sales velocity. Basically, how quickly your product is selling. It basically demonstrates momentum. The more sales you have, especially in a short period of time, the higher your product climbs in those search results.
Oh, so it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
The more sales you get, the more visible you become, and that leads to even more sales.
Right, exactly.
But then how do sellers decide how much to discount? I mean, does every product need the same strategy?
That's a great question, and honestly, it really depends on the product. The guide has some interesting examples about this. Let's say you're selling beard oil, something that people might want, but don't necessarily need right away. You might need to offer a much bigger discount to really entice those early buyers.
That makes sense. So it's something like beard oil compared to, let's say, a phone charging cable.
Exactly. A phone charging cable solves a more urgent need, so you might not need as big of a discount.
It's interesting how much psychology goes into this.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about understanding customer psychology, what they value, and how much they're willing to pay. The guide actually even talks about something called the CPR method, which is a tool that can help sellers calculate the optimal discount and how many products to give away.
So you're taking some of the guesswork out of it.
Exactly.
Now, I know we touched on this earlier, but I want to dive a little deeper into those ranking factors because the guide highlights three main ones: sales velocity, which we talked about, sales history, and conversion rate.
Right.
And on the surface, they seem pretty straightforward, but I have a feeling there's more to it.
Oh, there definitely is. These factors aren't just about numbers. They actually reflect real-world business principles that are playing out in the digital marketplace.
I like that. Real-world business principles.
Yeah, so let's start with sales history. It's all about building trust. Think about it. If you're looking at two products, one with a few reviews and one with hundreds of positive reviews, you're probably going to go with the one that has more reviews.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's social proof that the product actually delivers on its promises.
I see. So it's like real-world word of mouth, but online?
Exactly.
And then what about conversion rate?
So conversion rate is the percentage of people who actually buy your product after viewing the listing. A high conversion rate basically tells Amazon, hey, this product is appealing, people want it.
So it's not enough to just have a product listed. You need to prove that people actually want to buy it.
Right.
It's like a popularity contest where sales are the votes.
Exactly. And that's where all that pre-launch prep comes in. The guide emphasizes this over and over again. Don't just create a listing and hit publish. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, the guide talks a lot about keyword research and how crucial it is to find the right keywords, the words that shoppers are actually using.
Yeah, because if you're not using the right keywords, no one's going to find your product.
It's like you're speaking a different language.
Right.
So let's say I've invented a new type of water bottle.
Okay.
how would I go about finding those magic keywords?
Well, you could use tools like Helium 10 Cerebro to see what keywords your competitors are using for their water bottle listings. Are they focusing on features like leak-proof or insulated or maybe eco-friendly?
Oh, that's smart. So it's like spying on your competition to see what's working for them.
In a way, yeah, but it's all above board, of course.
Of course. Okay, so once I've done my keyword research.
Then comes the optimization of the listing itself.
Right.
High-quality images, compelling bullet points,
Oh,
a title that grabs attention.
So basically,
Yeah.
make it irresistible.
It
I was scrolling through Amazon. I would have to stop and click on your listing.
That's the goal. The guide actually recommends some other resources for listing optimizations. We won't go into too much detail here, but it's a whole art form in itself.
Okay, so let's say we've done our keyword research. We've got this amazing optimized listing. Now we're ready for those giveaways, right?
Yeah, now the real fun begins.
But hold on a second. How much inventory should I actually be setting aside for these giveaways? I mean, there's got to be a balance, right?
You're absolutely right. It's a delicate balance.
Because I'm thinking, if you don't give away enough, your product's going to stay hidden on like page 10.
Right.
But if you give away too much, you could run out of stock just when your product's starting to gain traction.
That's the nightmare scenario. You've created all this buzz. People are finally finding your product, and then bam, it's out of stock.
Oof. Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
So how do sellers find that sweet spot?
Well, the guide recommends using something called the CPR method to estimate the optimal number of giveaways.
So it's a more data-driven approach.
Exactly. It helps take some of the guesswork out of it.
This is all so fascinating. I'm starting to see Amazon launches in a whole new light. It's like a game of strategy
Yeah,
where you have to think several steps ahead to win.
you got it. And we've only just begun to explore the strategies involved.
I can't wait to learn more.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back. And in part one, we talked all about how Amazon's algorithm works and why those early giveaways are so crucial for new products. But it's not just about giving out discounts randomly, right?
Oh, definitely not.
The guide really emphasizes the importance of being strategic about where you offer those coupons.
It's kind of like, imagine you're a detective trying to find the most likely buyers for your product. You wouldn't just post flyers in any random location, right?
No.
You'd target the areas where your ideal customer is most likely to hang out.
So you're saying Amazon sellers need to be like detectives.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, so where do these Amazon detectives focus their efforts?
Well, one really interesting strategy the guide highlights is tapping into what's called outside web traffic.
Outside web traffic.
Yeah,
Yep.
basically. It means generating interest and buzz beyond Amazon itself.
I see.
So we're talking social media, landing pages, even blogs and email lists.
So instead of just relying on people to stumble upon your product on Amazon,
You're going out and meeting potential customers where they already are.
that's smart. So it's like you're building a whole ecosystem around your product, not just a faceless listing on Amazon.
Yeah.
You're a brand with a personality, a community even.
Exactly. And the guide really stresses that this kind of long-term thinking is key to building a sustainable business on Amazon. You're not just trying to make a quick buck with your launch, you're cultivating a loyal customer base, people who will hopefully come back for more.
That makes sense. Okay, so how do these off-Amazon strategies actually work?
Let's take landing pages as an example. The guide talks about this tool called Helium 10 portals, which helps sellers create these dedicated landing pages for their products.
Okay.
So imagine you're running a Facebook ad for your new amazing kitchen gadget. Instead of sending people straight to your Amazon listing, you send them to this beautifully designed landing page.
Ooh, so it's like a sneak peek. You can build some anticipation
Yeah.
and really showcase the product.
Exactly. You can have customer testimonials, high quality images, even video demos.
It's a more immersive experience.
Right. And then strategically placed on that page, you have a link to your Amazon listing with that tempting discount coupon.
I see. So by the time someone actually lands on your Amazon listing, they're already primed to buy. That's really clever.
Yeah.
And I'm really seeing the value of this off-Amazon strategy, especially for building that long-term brand presence.
Yeah, it's not just about the immediate sale. It's about creating a brand that people recognize and trust.
Speaking of building that brand, the guide had this really cool tip about creating a Facebook page for your product before the launch.
Oh yeah, that's a great strategy.
Because then you can start building a community, get people excited, even before the product's available.
It's all about creating that buzz. Word of mouth marketing is super powerful.
And I'm guessing those early Facebook fans are more likely to leave reviews,
Definitely.
which helps boost your visibility on Amazon even more.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about landing pages and Facebook. What about email lists? Where do they fit in?
Email marketing might seem a little old school, but it's still super effective.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Imagine you have an email list of people who are really into like eco-friendly products.
Okay.
When you launch your new bamboo water bottle, you can send out an email blast to your entire list.
Announcing the product
Yeah.
and maybe offering a special discount.
Exactly. You're targeting people who, are already interested.
It's like a pre-qualified audience.
Right.
So this is all making a lot of sense. But one of the most surprising distribution channels I read about was chatbots.
Oh, yeah. Chatbots are becoming increasingly popular, especially for e-commerce.
The guide explained how they can actually simulate real conversations, answering customer questions, guiding them through the purchasing process.
It's like having a 247 sales assistant
That's so great.
right on your website or Facebook page.
It really personalizes the customer experience.
Definitely. And a well-designed chatbot can even ask questions about the customer's needs and preferences, and then recommend products based on their responses.
So it's not just providing information, it's acting as a virtual salesperson.
Exactly.
This is blowing my mind. I had no idea there was so much involved in launching a product on Amazon.
It's a whole world unto itself.
It's like a carefully choreographed dance with all these different moving parts.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
We haven't even talked about things like deal sites and influencer marketing.
Oh yeah, the guide covers all of that too.
Wow. But I think the key takeaway here is that it's all about getting your product in front of the right people at the right time.
Absolutely. It's about being strategic, creative,
Yeah.
and relentless in your pursuit of those early sales.
You're saying it's not for the faint of heart.
Well, let's just say it takes a certain kind of personality to succeed on Amazon.
And speaking of different approaches, what about those more traditional advertising methods, like the ones we see all over the internet?
You mean like PPC advertising?
Yeah, PPC pay-per-click.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a whole other ball game. And the guide has a really insightful section on that as well.
I have to admit, I don't really know much about PPC.
Well, in a nutshell, it's basically a way to buy your way to the top of the search results.
Buy your way to the top.
Yeah, so let's say you're searching for running shoes on Amazon.
Those first few results you see, those are often sponsored products, meaning those sellers are paying to have their listings featured prominently.
So it's like an auction. Sellers are bidding on keywords.
Exactly. And the highest bidder gets that coveted top spot.
Interesting.
And the guide points out that PPC can be a really powerful tool, especially during those early stages of a launch when you're really trying to gain visibility.
But I'm guessing it can get expensive.
It definitely can,
Yeah.
especially if you're targeting really competitive keywords.
So there's a risk involved,
There's always a risk.
but also a potential for a big reward.
That's the nature of the game.
It's like a high-stakes poker game.
In a way, yeah.
Well, this is all so much to take in. I feel like I'm getting a crash course in Amazon launch strategy.
It's a lot to absorb, but it's all incredibly fascinating.
And we've only covered part 2.
Right. In the final part, we'll delve into those post-launch activities and how sellers can maintain their momentum to build lasting success on Amazon.
I can't wait. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive. And we've covered a lot of ground, from those initial giveaways to all those different distribution channels. But now I really want to focus on what happens after the launch. How do sellers keep that momentum going once the initial excitement dies down?
That's where the real work begins, I think. Launching a product is kind of like setting a ship out to sea. You've charted your course, you've got the wind in your sails, but the journey's far from over.
Oh, I like that analogy.
You got to constantly be adjusting your sails, watching out for storms, making sure you're still heading in the right direction.
So what are some of the navigational tools that Amazon sellers use to stay on course?
Well, the guide talks a lot about this idea of continuous optimization.
Continuous optimization.
Yeah, basically it means you're always analyzing data, tracking your keywords, making adjustments to your listing based on customer feedback and market trends.
It sounds like there's no resting on your laurels in the Amazon world.
Definitely not. The marketplace is constantly evolving. What works today might not work tomorrow.
You got to be adaptable.
You got to be data-driven.
And I'm guessing you also have to be really customer-focused.
Oh, absolutely. The guide emphasizes that over and over again. It's not enough to just sell a product. You got to create a positive experience for your customers.
Because happy customers are more likely to leave good reviews.
Exactly.
And we all know how important reviews are on Amazon.
Oh yeah, they're like gold.
A product with hundreds of 5-star reviews is way more appealing than one with just a few.
It's social proof. that your product is worth buying.
But, getting those reviews, it can be tricky,
It definitely can be.
especially with all of Amazon's rules and regulations.
Right. The guide actually has a whole section on this.
Yeah.
And they really stress the importance of staying within Amazon's terms of service, no incentivizing reviews, no shady tactics, just genuine feedback from satisfied customers.
Okay, so how do sellers encourage those positive reviews without breaking any rules?
It all starts with providing excellent customer service, being responsive to inquiries, going the extra mile to resolve any issues that come up.
It's like you're building a relationship with your customers.
Exactly.
You want them to feel valued and appreciated so that they're more likely to leave a positive review.
It's all about creating that goodwill.
And the guide mentions a tool called Helium 10's follow-up, which helps automate the process of requesting reviews from customers.
Oh yeah, that's a great tool.
It can save sellers a lot of time and effort.
Definitely. But remember, even with automated tools, it's still important to be thoughtful and personal in your communication with customers.
Don't just spam them with generic requests.
Right. You want to strike a balance between being persistent and respectful of their time.
Make them feel like you actually care about their feedback.
Exactly.
This is all great advice, but it also sounds like a lot of work.
It is work, but it's the kind of work that can pay off big time in the long run.
Because a successful product launch
Yeah.
is just the beginning of the journey.
Right. You got to keep that momentum going and continue to optimize and refine your strategy
It's like you're a captain constantly adjusting the ship's course.
to navigate the ever-changing seas of the Amazon marketplace.
I love that. So we've talked about the importance of customer service and reviews. But what are some other key post-launch activities that sellers should focus on?
Well, one of the most important is keyword tracking.
Because the keywords people are using are always changing, right?
Exactly. You got to stay on top of those trends to make sure your product is still showing up in relevant searches.
And what about pricing?
Pricing is another crucial factor. You got to find that sweet spot that's competitive, but also profitable.
It's like walking a tightrope.
It is. And if you raise your prices too quickly, you could lose customers.
This is all making me realize that launching a product on Amazon is a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and a willingness to constantly adapt and learn.
And a little bit of luck never hurts either.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been fascinating to explore the world of Amazon product launches. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that it's about so much more than just creating a listing and hoping for the best.
It's about building a brand, engaging with your audience, and creating a product that people truly love.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So if you're out there listening and you've got an amazing product idea, don't be afraid to take the leap.
The rewards can be huge.
Just remember to do your research, be strategic, and never stop learning.
And most importantly, have fun.
That's great advice. Thanks again for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep those entrepreneurial dreams alive.